Of course, this all leads up to the Pikes Peak or Bust Rodeo, but hard to imagine where this rodeo came from. Going back, the rodeo itself, 1933, the breakfast itself, 1936, when 35 people gathered around a chuck wagon, and now we have a few thousand of our Colorado Springs residents down here, military members, Western Heritage. It's all coming together. Just had breakfast myself. Let's get over to Alan because, as you can see, the sun is bright, and it is a beautiful day down here, Alan.
Yeah, nice day. All right, I'm a little bit of a food coma. That breakfast was delicious. Right now, seeing clear skies all across the region. We can see, so we switch to the maps and look at that Cheyenne Mountain Cam. Nothing but a bright blue sky on your Wednesday morning. That will change this afternoon. It's the first day I have rain back in that forecast since back on Saturday. Just a few isolated storms in eastern El Paso County this afternoon, and then a better chance for strong to severe storms as we head towards late tonight. This could be a pretty significant setup here. Lots of instability, lots of moisture punching in just after 10 o'clock tonight, right around 11 to maybe midnight. Could see some large hail here into parts of El Paso County. Highs today, again, warm above average. Have yourselves a great Wednesday, everyone.
Hello, mic check. 1, 2, 3. So are we beginning this now, or are we beginning this when it starts? I think he's going to keep the camera pointed that way. You're safe.
Okay. Try to keep secret identity.
Yeah, I got you. Well, just keep those sunglasses on. You'll be safe.
I don't know how you guys do it. You recognize everywhere you go.
I don't know about all that.
Wait did Soviet hitting you?
Yeah, I bet they did. Sure. So we're not streaming until it starts happening? We're streaming right now. Hello to anyone. And hello to anyone who is watching this stream on KOA.com as we're getting ready for the Range Riders to exit anytime in just a few minutes here. Of course, you know, at such a large event like this, so many moving parts and so many people, not everything begins exactly when it's scheduled, but 8 a.m. is the time that they are going to start making their way. And we do see, when I look clear down Pikes Peak Avenue and I look down toward the east, I can see the color guard mounted up there about 3 blocks down. And this is really kind of the culmination of what's been a fantastic morning out here at the 2023 Western Street Breakfast. So many members of the community coming out, and we've had great speakers up on the stage from the Girl of the West, McKenna Norton. We've heard from El Paso County Commissioner Cami Bremer. We've heard from El Paso County Sheriff Joe Roybal, and we've heard from our new mayor, Yemi Mobolade, as well as representatives from the Range Riders about how this Western Heritage event really, comes together, and it's so well supported by the military for this breakfast to put on the amazing amount of food that is served for these people. And I can see the color guard making their way down Pikes Peak Avenue now. It looks like, I believe, 5 or 4 horses. I see the Colorado state flag as well as the American flag. Of course, this being my first time observing this event in person. So we're going to kind of be figuring it out together as we enjoy this live stream. And I don't believe from my cameraman's perspective you can quite make out what I can see. Got a vantage point behind him sitting a little bit higher. But people are starting to gather around the rails now. My assistant news director, Isaac, is kind of laughing at me as I'm doing the play-by-play on this event for Digital Nation on KOA.com. I think I need to get Isaac over here as kind of a co-play-by-play guy. So this also your first Western Street breakfast.
First time here, Ira, and I'm loving every second of it.
And you're from Texas.
So this is great. I have my black cowboy hat on, my boots. Everyone has their boots on out here. It's a good time.
It's
and
like,
of course, some free, well, not free, but cheap breakfast. It's
Yeah.
pretty good.
$5 breakfast.
We actually just ran into someone who's visiting Colorado Springs from St. George, Utah. She's staying at the Antlers, and she was talking about how awesome this event is and how awesome Colorado Springs is. So definitely a good showing for the city, man.
And that is the voice of our news director, Ryan Hazelwood, who kind of told Isaac he had no chance, no choice but to talk to me. So we appreciate Ryan chiming in as well. But yeah, here comes the Range Rider Color Guard. And then looking back down the way, I can see here they come. And hard to believe when you think about how many years this tradition has been in place. As the color guard goes by, and now we see some of the command staff from Fort Carson, the garrison commander, Colonel Brown, who we visited with earlier on News 5 today. He looks right at home on top of a horse.
He really does. He's enjoying it a lot. And I don't think they usually get on horses. What, they get on like airplanes and tanks?
Helicopters, striker vehicles, the 4th ID, our proud soldier heritage. And it looks like we've got a horse-drawn wagon coming next, and I can see behind them then the long line of horses and flags and what begins a 5-day journey that traditionally, as we've heard, is it circles Pikes Peak. They're doing something a little different this year, as Mike McKernan was telling us about, that is more inclusive for these range riders, with the families. And so you think about everything that goes into this to support a 5-day ride around Pikes Peak. It certainly takes a lot of logistic horse. You've got to feed these 150 cowboys and cowgirls. Next, it looks like I'm seeing a fair amount of members of the El Paso County Sheriff's Office on horseback leading this group out. And so far, everyone is looking tall in the saddle and looking good. And here comes McKenna Norton, Girl of the West, the representative of Western heritage around the Pikes Peak or Bust Rodeo. And now here we go. These would be the Rangerettes.
Yes.
The Pikes Peak Rangerettes. Yes, this is a precision riding team, and if you come out to the Pikes Peak or Bust Rodeo, you will see these gals putting on quite a precision, amazing show. I would almost compare it, Isaac, to it's like watching the Thunderbirds, but you're watching cowgirls on horses.
It's just as fun. It's equally as entertaining. You're amazed by the amount of talent that goes into doing that, right?
Yeah, and like what looks like close calls to us is just closely choreographed, and here come the range riders getting things ready. Happy rodeo! And of course, you still have time to come down and grab some breakfast for another hour. come on down. The band's going to be playing Exit West. Here comes Kevin. Safe riding, Kevin. Thank you, sir. We spoke to Kevin earlier on News 5 Today. Kevin McCaven, one of the range riders. And he talked about the record setup they had last night of the hay bales and the thousands of gallons of pancake batter and sausage and everything that goes into making this morning a success. And, you know, you look out among the crowd, you see kids, you see adults, you see everybody's got a smile on their face. And
well, you interviewed children a while ago, Ira. How was that interview with all those kids?
We did. You know, kids will say the darndest things, especially when you tee them up a great question like, are you having fun? And then they typically say yes.
Yes. Like that?
Exactly like that. Here comes some more range riders now as we're getting into the heart of this group of riders. And I've had several people describe this to me as being a very proud moment, but also a little bit of a touch and go moment. And I see our general manager, Ross White, there, one of the range riders. He always talks about just want to keep that horse on the straight and narrow path as they are exiting among the crowd and heading out for happy rodeo days. And of course, what a great kickoff leads up to the Pikes Peak or Bust Rodeo that will happen July 11th. That's when it will kick off. We'll have plenty of coverage of the rodeo, of course, on News 5. I have a feeling we'll be hearing from the Girl of the West, McKenna Norton, again, as we get into what is really the heart of rodeo season here. All kicked off by the street breakfast that, again, dates all the way back to 1936. And now what a great, yes, sir, thank you. Yeah, you guys have a safe ride. Again, so much of this couldn't happen without the many volunteers that have come out and set this up. Streets closed here in downtown Colorado Springs last night around midnight. And since then, we've been setting up for this great breakfast, all leading up to this moment when the range riders are headed out. But between the volunteers from Fort Carson, as well as the cooks cooking up the breakfast, as well as all the citizens and the community members who've come out to celebrate Western heritage and the beginning of really rodeo season here in the Pikes Peak region. And it looks like we are now down to about the last 20 or so, bringing up the rear. Hope you guys have a safe ride. Yes, sir. What a glorious morning, though, here in downtown Colorado Springs. And if you are watching our digital streaming coverage of the range riders heading out for the 2023 Range Riders Pikes Peak or Bust Rodeo ride that, again, really kicks off rodeo season. And all this based around the Western heritage that, really you think about this region as diverse as it is, and it is a proud, diverse community now. It is all rooted in Western heritage.